This is the third in a series of video blogs in which members of the Southern Africa Climate Finance Partnership reflect on their experiences of participating in and delivering the past 6 years of the program. The series seeks to explore the lessons from knowledge brokering within a community of practice for climate finance mobilization. This third installment explores the methodology used to codify the challenges inherent to the problem space and activities pursued to attempt to address them. To understand the structure and activities of the program, please refer to the reports published on the SACFP Knowledge Portal.
Can I just say, our theory of change at the beginning was very hazy.
It's a theory, right? So we made some assumptions about how the world would work and respond.
We could not have foreseen all the activities that would come down the road. It was very much an iterative process, and we learnt along the way.
And I think over time, if you now look at how the SACFP's theory of change is for this particular phase 3, it's a lot more formalized and makes more intuitive sense.
After the first 3 years of the program, the team realized that whilst we needed to remain flexible in what we did, i.e. the activities we undertook, we had along the way identified and had been applying very intentional and very specific lines of rationale for how we did what we did. This culminated in the identification and inclusion of a core set of knowledge brokering principles, centrally located in the program's theory of change as it was developed for the third phase. The advantage of being flexible in unexplored knowledge terrains was made clear to the team in their experience of the first 2 phases. And it was in being responsive to the needs of the community of practice that the program has been able to remain relevant, especially as organizations progress along their climate finance journey.
You need to have that flexibility in order to kind of deal with those known unknown, or the unknown knowns.
And there's also very core driving philosophies of SACFP to be flexible and demand-driven. And I think we've done a good job over the years.
Yeah.
The team realized the importance of empowering people and organizations for the sustainability of capacity building efforts.
One predominant lens around how to solve this particular issue around capacity and capabilities to build it and deploy it from an external setting into an organization through external consultants and technical assistants. But the realization that these institutions need to paddle their own canoe, so to speak, in this journey has been a predominant thought and something that we've been very strong to push, in that creating an external crutch or an external support that can't be repeated within an institution has a significant risk.
We've also seen institutions that have kind of built that capacity in-house have done particularly well.
And it wasn't only that the efforts of the SSN team should be directed towards being enabling, but perhaps more critically, that members of the community of practice had the ability, if channeled correctly, to enable one another. And so by fostering this platform, SSN could create more opportunities for that to take place.
A central tenet of our theory of change is that those ahead in the journey can share back and build the capabilities and capacities of those who are starting their journey.
This forum has been extremely useful, for us to obviously share our experience as a direct access entity of the Green Climate Fund. We were accredited back in 2016, and since then we've had a lot of experience in terms of being able to submit proposals, whether it's for readiness support, project preparation support, and even support for full implementation.
Because climate finance is a whole new arena for financial institutions, often they don't know what they don't know. And so partnering with institutions that have walked this journey before unveils those unknowns. And so SACFP plays a really critical role in that respect, by bringing together institutions that have walked the journey before, have the experience, and can kind of work with institutions that are seeking accreditation.
It actually helps you to maybe fast track some of the things, because then you get to understand things better. But it's not really that you want to call GCF all the time, but having somebody just on call, because most of the institutions are really have really availed themselves to us. When you want to ask something, clarity or anything, there's always somebody that has gone through the same experience that can assist.
Through this approach, the SACFP has been able to promote the emergence and sharing of new knowledge and capacity from within and amongst Southern-based organizations. And so where Northern academia and development partner institutions may be struggling to understand what the challenges facing Southern-based organizations are, these organizations are already solving their challenges by working together.
Our colleagues at the Environmental Investment Fund in Namibia were a major kind of leading light in the region, and we drew on their experience then as they were learning through their GCF journey.
The challenges that different countries and entities experience are so common, extremely common, that you benefit from some of the solutions that are being discussed through these platforms.
The Development Bank of Southern Africa have also been at the forefront of being willing to share back their experiences of what worked and what hasn't worked, and being very honest and somewhat vulnerable in how they shape the capacities and capabilities of others who are walking the similar journey.
And for us, it's quite important, to capacitate and also share that experience with other entities in the region. I think it's very important for a regional direct access entity such as DBSA to help and hopefully fast track project submissions to the GCF.
And likewise, the South African National Biodiversity Institution have also shared their journey with us and form an intrinsic part of how knowledge is brokered in this particular emerging field of climate finance and direct access in Southern Africa.
The past few years shows, the benefits of having a platform where regional direct access entities can share lessons.
The co-production and sharing of knowledge, as demonstrated through the SACFP, has enabled the SSN team to remain independent. Without direct ties to climate funds and without seeking a stake in developing projects, the team can more freely play the trusted role of knowledge broker.
Knowledge brokering into this space wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the willingness of those working on a very vexing, complex issue to share humbly, to share openly about their experiences. In March of 2020, we switched over to support from the IDRC, and we entered into a new phase of kind of understanding how we could knowledge broker for impact.
Moving into the third phase of the program, the SSN team needed to surface in more detail the capacity and capability needs of the community of practice in order to inform the programming of specific activities as the focus of entities moved from accreditation towards more actual implementation of climate finance.
Then we had a detailed capacity needs assessment with those specific institutions to understand what exactly they wanted from this particular program.
Knowledge brokering uncovered some kind of broad areas of needs, but through this process, more granular needs emerged, and that allowed us to shift from focusing on entities seeking accreditation to the implementation side of things.
The capacity needs assessment was a primary research activity across 8 different institutions, involving key stakeholder interviews and a series of validation workshops.
And they're trying to tap into what they needed, what they know they needed, also highlighting opportunities for them to uncover things that they didn't know.
Establishing a technical reference group made up of entities in the region that had already been programming climate finance allowed us to leverage the knowledge differential and hone in on the capacity constraints that newer entities would likely face. This enabled the team to codify the climate finance capacity constraints of entities for the first time. The constraints and challenges were broadly categorized as either external or internal to the organization. And the internal constraints and challenges were then further organized into those that pertain to individual champions and those that pertain to the organization more broadly. And then further organized into those that were strategic and those that were more operational in nature.
And then map those out into a unique institution-specific roadmap for them. And it quite literally was graphically put out for them, like how they would benefit across this phase.
In the fourth installment of this video blog series, the team explores how this framework has enabled a further 3 years of applied research and knowledge brokering that further codifies climate finance capacity knowledge.